They're not telling you the truth. Who are they really? Okay, BlackRock it is. This is something we need to talk about right now since a lot of people are just curious about what's going on with BlackRock and XRP. What do they plan to do? That is what we are going to talk about. We are going to deal with it. First, though, I want to quickly say that now is the best time to join the Discord. A free section and a paid section are both there. You guys are free to join any of them. But I will say that Discord is the best place to be right now because the crypto markets are getting really hot. Besides that, let's start. There are a few things we should talk about. First, let's talk about the end of the case. On August 7th, we learned that both sides had made a joint motion to dismiss the appeals. The case is over. Here is what we have. Just so you know, Justin, the SEC governor and Ripple have jointly filed to dismiss their appeals. This ends their almost 5-year court battle. Now, everyone is saying that's it. BlackRock has put in for an XRP ETF. They are going to be tapped in. The odds are actually going up. The chances of getting the Ripple ETF just went up to almost 90%. This is from Bitcoin.com news, which is crazy because it's a Bitcoin Maxi account that says, look at no, ETF odds around XRP have now went up by almost 90%. But that's not why. On August 7th, Ripple and the SEC filed to end their years-long legal fight over the status of XRP. Polymarket shows that ETF trust goes up by 20 points in just 24 hours. Is this the time for Ripple to take off? Tell us what you think below. Again, everyone is wondering what will happen next because this case has been going on for 5 years. We're interested in what will happen after this case is over. To begin, will Ripple win? The first thing that came to mind was, did this just kill XRP? Did this just kill Ripple? Like, what's going to happen? It seemed like everyone thought this would end XRP. For sure, I remember when it was announced. In the following weeks and months, we began to wonder what problem this was going to cause. We now know what problem it caused in 2021. During the bull run, it pretty much hurt XRP, but there was also a lot more that we missed. For example, the growth of Ripple in the US and the use of XRP in the US. Because of this SEC case, there's been a lot that we don't know about. Now that the court case is over, we're thinking about a lot of things. We are thinking about everything, right? Adoption by institutions, relationships, you name it. We're mostly looking at ETFs and the market price of XRP during this whole time, because I think that's one of the most important things for people who own XRP. As we think about that, we also have this from Paul Barron, XRP ETF Watch 2025 could be the year. The facts are clear. After the SEC settlement, the chance of the XRP ETF being approved have gone from 70% to 90% or higher on Polymarket. Here's what makes people feel good. First, the deal makes the law clear because it ends a 4-year fight with the SEC. Bitwise, which has 21 shares, Institutional Interest, Canary Capital, Grayscale, and Franklin Templeton have all made applications. That is here for you. All of these are ETFs. This is an important list. It was about institutional interest, and we just read it. Market maturity. XRP futures went live in May, showing that the market is growing in a controlled way. A business analyst raised the chances of the XRP ETF being approved to 85% for 2025. The final decision is due in the 3rd or 4th quarter. If approved, a huge amount of institutional cash could come in. Better price stability and liquidity, the option to buy XRP through traditional brokers, and price goals of up to $60 by 2030. Again, I don't think it's that crazy to think about that price in terms of $60 by 2030, since that's still 5 years from now. But that aside, people who are really trying to avoid this must either be huge fans of Bitcoin or Ethereum, or they just hate XRP. At this point, I think it's probably one of those three. No matter what, though, the main thing I'm interested in with these ETFs is BlackRock's plan. We know that almost everyone has already applied for an ETF. It even got approval from the SEC to start a crypto blue chip ETF that will hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Crow, and XRP. This is known as Trump's social media platform. That took place in the middle of July or at the beginning of July. Besides that, SBI Holdings wants to make the Tokyo Stock Exchange the home of Japan's first Bitcoin XRP ETF. But first, the FSA has to give the go-ahead. This was made public on the 6th, which was also a big day to remember. SBI has a lot of faith in Ripple and XRP. Now we'll talk about BlackRock. Yes, we did hear from Nate Garashi about BlackRock. I believe BlackRock was waiting to see this before filing for the iShares XRB ETF. If I'm wrong, I'll own it. I don't see any reason for them to ignore crypto assets besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. If not, they're saying that Bitcoin and Ethereum are the only ones that will ever be worth anything. Nope. As I said before, the big thing I'm looking at here is what the market would look like if I were BlackRock. Okay, I'm looking at the yearly gains here. Oh, I see. I already have an ETF for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin is up more than 91%. In the past year, Ethereum has gone up by almost 60%. XRP has gone up 460%. As of now, XRP is the third finest altcoin. Because XRP is so easy to sell, BlackRock's request for an XRP ETF makes a lot of sense. In other words, they can make a lot of money from it. So it's a clear choice. What Nate says here makes sense to me. But Nate gave us some new information. That same day, BlackRock called me out and said they have no plans to start Spot, XRP, or even a Solana ETF at this time. When we look back, I think this was a mistake. We'll see. And we have this BlackRock said it has no plans to make an XRP ETF or a Solana ETF. Right now, it only shows and trades Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum ETFs. BlackRock does not plan to file an XRP or Solana ETF at this time. This is what BlackRock told the block on Friday. How much weight do I put on this? Not at all. Why? For starters, they're not telling the truth. I think they want to start a spot XRP ETF and maybe even a spot Solana ETF. No matter what they say, we should think the opposite. Every single thing BlackRock has done has always been seen through this lens. It seems like a long time ago that BlackRock told us that Bitcoin is worthless and that there was no reason to buy or keep it. They changed their minds all of a sudden in 2022 and said, hey, we want a Bitcoin ETF. They also began to talk about tokenization at that time, even though they have been against crypto for years. They do the exact opposite of what they say. I have a strong feeling that BlackRock wants to, start an XRP ETF. I think it doesn't make sense for them not to have an XRP ETF because that's what their business is all about. Making money, XRP ETF makes a lot of sense here. I'm willing to bet that they file for one within a year. This one is from John Deaton. Also, I really think we'll get this before the end of the year because the market for an XRP ETF is so hot right now with everything going on. I think we need to think about this first. A lot of other XRP ETFs have been filed. Didn't we just go over them? On top of that, there's a huge list, a very long list of businesses want to hold XRP as treasury. We now have the whole list here. All right, this is almost $1 billion. This tells us that demand for XRP is very high from all sides, including individuals, businesses, and institutions. From the point of view of, say, asset management or an ETF provider, this would look different to me. No, BlackRock is not stupid. They're not telling us the truth. I think that BlackRock will release an XRP ETF, and I think it will happen within the next month. I'd say we get this ETF in about 1 to 3 months. Really, especially now that Ethereum is really taking off, I do believe that XRP will really wake up. I know that in the past year, it has already gone up 400% or more. The next move should get us at least $5 or $6. I believe we will go higher, but XRP will be everywhere. That's why now is the best time for them to start an XRP ETF. Who knows what? The ads are already out there. They don't even have to pay for it. XRP will be talked about almost every day in mainstream media. Besides that, though, the crazy thing about this is that we have over here from biased points of view, we are having a great conference on the financial markets here. BlackRock says there isn't an XRP ETF right now. Oh yeah, Stuart Adirati is on a conference call with BlackRock's CIO for ETF and index investments, so he won't let that stop him. Check out the other names too, in charge of handling the IMF's second office. What a joke. But once more, we can't hear the noise when we're thinking about what's going on right now. There will be a lot of noise in the area which will confuse us and try to throw us off track. And this is where you need to really focus and go over every single fact. We need to use all of the information we have at hand. These numbers show that if BlackRock saw a market chance with Bitcoin, they also saw a market chance with Ethereum. Why didn't they see that XRP was a good way to make money? Really, think about what's going on with XRP right now. We're now in the second part of the market, and Ethereum is set to lead the way, right? Soon that will be old coins. The case is now over. The chances for ETFs are going through the roof. We also think about what this might mean for the use of XRP in and outside of the US. There is no doubt that institutional acceptance will speed up a great deal. I would say that there are probably big players out there who are thinking about using Ripple and XRP for payment flows right now. We already know that JP Morgan said XRP would be very good or very valuable once this lawsuit was over. After the case was over, Bank of America said they would use XRP on-demand liquidity. When we think about what's going on, we know that these big players in the market have already made it clear what they want with XRP. As soon as this case is over, it's over. It's now possible for XRP to get where it wants to go.